What's going on, everybody? Welcome to FN's Downtown Studios. I am John Ramdeen alongside the one and only Robin Black. UFC 207 going down this Friday night from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. The 135-pound picture. We're going to get a better understanding. Ronda Rousey makes her return, looking to recapture her bantamweight championship. Dominick Cruz, one of the pound-for-pound best, looking to defend his 135-pound championship when he takes on the undefeated Cody Garbrandt. And leading up to the fight, there were some pre-fight events, a satellite tour, and things kind of got heated between the challenger and the champion.
I could say verbatim what you're going to say before these interviews because you're a meathead.
Because you study me.
Because you're a meathead.
Watch my film.
Yeah, it says the guy who's creeping on my social media, like USADA.
Yeah, they want going on my girlfriends and talking that shit to her on Instagram.
She talked at me.
Right. No, you went on
Keep
her
your
side.
fling
You went
on the string, man.
too. Flee on a string.
She shouldn't be hollering at
keep
me
your
on
dog
social
on the string.
media.
How about that?
She shouldn't be
Slap the
hollering at
shit
me
out
on
of you for
social
that.
media.
Yeah.
Keep her to yourself. As far as I'm concerned, I did you a favor and her a favor. She obviously wears the pants in the relationship, or else she wouldn't be having to defend you. So keep your fling on the string, keep her mouth shut, because this is big boy business.
I'll come across there right now, dude. You're a room away.
Go ahead, come over here.
Yeah.
Come on, turd. Let's go.
Unhook me.
Oh, I hope he comes. Bring it. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You coming? You coming, little boy? Come on. Come on. You already know. You already know I'm right. That's why you're mad. You already know what's going to happen. Control yourself. You got one day, boy. There's no winning or losing this. This is telling this kid the truth. He needs to control his girl and not let her get embarrassed. I don't want my fans to attack his girl. I love women. I'm a mama's boy. You know, I don't want to see the things she says to me attack her. You know, I want to keep his girlfriend out of this. And he should have told her that. So as far as I'm concerned, I did him a favor. I did his girlfriend a favor by kindly telling her to stay out of this big boy business. He's just angry that I'm right. That's why he's pacing. That's why he unhooked himself. And the other reason he unhooked himself is because he has to be a self-perceived savage. So a savage can't do this interview. A savage can't control himself during this stuff. A savage has to act crazy, has to act emotional. And he has to do this because this is what an alpha, a savage, does. I can hear him yelling and screaming over there. Yeah, he's right here. See, you hear him throwing stuff? Huh?
Robin, clearly the champion Dominick Cruz getting under the skin of Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt does know that they are going to fight on Friday night. Why is he allowing this stuff to happen? As a matter of fact, before what we saw happen, you were talking to both guys.
Yeah, I can tell you the story right from the start, which was very interesting, to be honest. What was really interesting to me is I sit down at the time. It's recorded at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And along comes Cody Garbrandt. He sits down, suit and tie, classy, looking good. We check a few things. I say, hey, it's Robin Black. He goes, hey, Robin, how's it going? We chat about Christmas. We chat about food. And I said, you know, it'll be great. New Year's Eve, you can go out. He goes, yeah, I'm going to be the world champion. I'll go out and celebrate, start the year as the champ. Calm, cool, collected, confident. Dude was cool. 15 after, 18 after, 22 after. Dom's not there yet, and he's starting to get a little edgy. I'm still chatting with him, just casual. Dom sits down, takes his time getting set up. Cody's getting irritated, and I just asked. I said, Dom, I was going to ask Cody the first question, but you know, I got to ask you. He was here 20 minutes ago, looking good, all well-dressed and professional. You work in television. You know about call times. Are you doing this to get under his skin? And then shit just went crazy. They just started getting angry at each other. He started out saying, I'm not trying to get under his skin. There was nothing else happening. I asked him about intentionally getting, I'm not doing anything. It's not me. And Cody, who was calm and relaxed, just immediately lit. And this idea of mind games, this idea of getting in the head of your opponent, it really was undeniable. Calm, cool, collected, relaxed, chatting, hey, how's Christmas? To freaking out. And that, Dom's saying I didn't do anything. I'm not making him do it. And the truth is, you have control over your reactions. But he's reacting to Dominick Cruz in a minute. And if you react to him like that and it makes you hyper-aggressive, you can't wait to get over there, the second you charge at him, he's going to double leg you and end up on top of you right off the top. And he is absolutely in this kid's head. And I feel for Cody Garbrandt because he's showing up at a mental gunfight with like a pointed stick.
Now, there's certain realities here. And for a lot of fighters, yes, their goal is to be world champion. But at the same time, the job is to get the big fight. You know, when we look at Dominick Cruz and Cody Garbrandt, we know that their experience is different. We know that they're in different stages of their mixed martial arts career and their martial arts evolution. If you're Cody Garbrandt, doesn't it have to be in the back of your mind that your training partners, I would imagine that TJ Dillashaw probably had his way with Cody Garbrandt many, many times. Uriah Faber has also had his way with Cody Garbrandt based on experience, based on his physicality. Same with Joseph Benavidez. And every one of those guys, the guys that you're relying on to get you better, to defeat the champion, they couldn't get it done as well. So is that not implanted in his brain?
You know what, brother? We live in an instant gratification culture. People don't actually do something and then they want to go on a reality show and instantly be rich and famous doing it. We saw Mickey Gall, a talented young guy with a good future, call out a guy who would murder him because the idea of desperately being in the public eye and having people pursue you and getting the big fights became his motivating factor, not becoming a better fighter and slowly developing skill and ability until you're fantastic. That's the old way, that's the smart way, and that's the long play. That's what you got to do. If the idea is, how can I get the biggest fights? How can I get in the main event? How can I make the big money? You go in there and you find yourself in with Dominick Cruz and you're ill-prepared for it.
Yeah.
He finds himself even just talking to Dominick Cruz and he's ill-prepared for it. Can he win this fight? Of course. The very same anger and urgency can drive him to land the one thing that he needs to win the fight.
You're saying, of course. I think that's very confusing for people, considering the guy, Uriah Faber told him, get to 5-0 and I'm going to get you into the UFC. He's 10-0 right now, which means he's only had 5 fights in the UFC. Dominick Cruz with his fights in the UFC and the WEC. How in the world can he be ready for a guy that is going to be anticipating everything? You've seen how good the guy beat Demetrius Johnson. He's faced and defeated the best fighters in the world. You know that ego is not a factor. Yes, you feel that Cody Garbrandt, if he can land, he can win this fight. But is that a reality?
Anybody can knock anybody out. That's possible in the world. It's possible for him to win the fight. Of course he can win this fight. But is he prepared for this fight? Is he of a skill level and a caliber and a seasoning to win this fight? When you take on things bigger than you are prepared for, it relieves some pressure. Hey, man, I wasn't supposed to win anyways.
Right.
Look at the balls on me going up and trying to climb Mount Everest, even though I've never climbed anything. You know, you don't sit for the SATs in year 1. You know what I mean? You don't take your medical exam in year 1 of medical school. You take it at the end. This is our culture. People want it right now, and they want it to burn as hot as possible. But he is not prepared for this fight. And when I also asked him, and I am a fan of him, and he's a kind, gentle, cool guy. But when I asked him, you know, later, as I was trying to get some words in between of these guys going at each other, and Dom being calm, and it's just, he's playing this guy. When I asked him, if it goes into the later rounds, can you win a decision against a guy with that kind of experience who gets better every round? He's like, I won't need to. I'm going to knock him out. Is that possible? Of course it's possible. Is it likely? Relying on it. Faith is not based on reality. Faith is based on believing in something with no evidence. That's what faith means. There is no evidence he can do any of these things. And now he has to deal with the psychological pressure that will make him hyper-aggressive to the point he wants to storm over there and fight him in the other room. If you will convince yourself at the weigh-ins, I'll handle it properly. You'll convince yourself in conversation, I'll handle it properly in the back room. But the second that guy does one thing, whether it's Conor with the finger or Muhammad Ali with a move or Chael doing this, there are people who have skills in this area. And if he offsets this kid, while they're face-to-face, says one word about his girlfriend, he could come storming over, instant takedown, everything changes.
Now, are you surprised by this? Don't you imagine that the team that Cody Garbrandt surrounds himself with, being Uriah Faber and Danny Castillo and Justin Buchholz, guys that have been in this game for a long time, aren't they telling him, do not react? Don't give Dominick Cruz any power.
They tell him constantly. They told him right there, don't let him get in your head. He's in your head. We're past don't react to him. We're past, don't let him get in your head. Just choosing not to react is not going to be enough against a master of manipulation. And Dom has educated himself on how to play this game. And he's just not prepared for it. Justin Buchwald couldn't win a psychological battle with Dominick Cruz. You know, Danny Castillo couldn't win and Uriah Faber, the mental giant that Uriah Faber is, barely held his own in there with him. And another thing, in their debates, during our interview, and some of it we'll have up on YouTube, some of it already on our YouTube channel is them freaking out, but my questions are irrelevant. I start out asking a question or two and they just go. But during it, everything that Dom has ever said to him, Cody started bringing up, well, you said this, but this, and he had been building excuses and arguments. If you're wandering around the world going, I'll show him, I'll tell him, you're playing the equivalent of a 14-year-old on the internet typing in all caps, only you're waiting for your chance to do it. That is the very definition of in your head. And then at some point he is saying to Dom, as if this is a negative, you brought in, all these great boxers and all these people, high-level guys, you said it, to simulate me. I got the same guys. I don't need anyone new. That doesn't make sense. What he's saying is, Dom, you're taking me very, very seriously, so seriously that you are going to deep extents to prepare and to over-prepare for me. I have Danny Castillo going like this. Yeah. This is not Dom, bad on you for bringing in the best to take me seriously, good on me for hanging out with a bunch of guys you've already beat. It's just not making sense. And Dom is doing a great job of just providing, here's the evidence, here's some of the facts, here's some of the truths. And that's very stressful. This is a young man who's never been anywhere near this level of fight, never been anywhere near this level of martial artist, and anywhere near this level of intellect. And he shouldn't be winning this battle at this point, and he shouldn't be winning this fight. But can you go in there and draw from the deepest places and find the moment and bring it all together, and as Justin Gaethje told us, narrow that tunnel from whatever's going on in the world, and as it gets down to it until you're standing there and all there is Dominick Cruz's chin? Can you do that and land that punch? You're going to have to, because that's how you got to win this fight.
Can he do that as he's taunting him? And can he do that as he gets into round 4, which he's never been before, and round 5? Dominick Cruz has done 25 minutes 6 times over his last 8 fights or so.
Everything you're describing is worse and worst case scenarios. And if you take a young guy who, and Cody has dealt with the turbulence of a third round and having lost moments of a fight one time in that one decision, which was very valuable for him. But you need to build on that and build on that. We live in a world where everybody wants to jump up and take Mark Cuban's job. I told you the story of being in an Uber, and the guy's like, see all these big buildings with these guys running it? I could do better than all of them. That's the culture we live in. This is the shape, this is how we think. But winning is done one step at a time. Greatness is achieved one step at a time. And this young man has jumped 10 steps. And people find a way sometimes. There are people who don't know how to climb who have been helped up Mount Everest, and there are people who have, in a moment of brilliance, lifted a car off of somebody or ran into a burning house and grabbed a baby. It can be done, but this is looking worse and worse for him. If you're Cody Garbrandt, if you're his team, if you're the people around him, you need to deal with the reality that this is happening. There's still time. There's still 48 hours plus. You deal with the reality that this is happening. You deal with the reality. If you're feeling silly, if you feel, that this guy has made you look stupid, if you feel like, just let it go. Let go of the steering wheel. Just close your eyes and meditate and let it all go and realize none of this matters. What matters is those 25 minutes or less. Easy for me to say, but and I feel like, I just relaxed myself. Dom would say one thing, and now I'm all freaked out. It's what he can do, and the best are doing it, and the ones that aren't doing it are studying it. And first, you have to reach a level of greatness that some of these top guys are at to even understand how many other areas there are where they can spread their intellect and their training and their knowledge and their strategy. And what we're seeing in Dominick Cruz right now is a new level of martial artist, of combat sportsman, of mind.
And I love that you brought that up. What is the advantage for Dominick Cruz to take this fight with Cody Garbrandt? I know he's taking it because, hey, it happens to be on the Ronda card. This is the opponent. but as a martial artist, Dominick Cruz seems like the type of guy that wants to leave the cage with new information, something that he can use to face the Demetrius Johnsons or the Conor McGregors or the giants of the mixed martial arts world.
I was down in Los Angeles as Dom and Daniel Cormier were working on the Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson show. And I was just quietly there for 5 or 6 hours listening to them talk. And Dom told everybody in the room, he's like, I don't care who they put me against, just get me on that Ronda card. That's where the money is. I will grow as a fighter. I will evolve. I'll win. I'll pass tests. I'll keep growing. I'll become greater. But put me on that Ronda card because I want to get paid. And this fight is getting him paid. He could have never known that Ronda would not be out in the media, and thus all of our eyes as we get closer and closer to December 30th ends up looking at him sitting there with a young man who's ill-equipped to handle this, and we're seeing his brilliance. We see it in the cage. We see it when he fights. We see it when he commentates, but we're watching it in real time as he slowly mentally breaks this kid apart. And that is fascinating. And as you know, I am not a fan of all the nonsensical attention-getting, Twitter beefs and fake conversation call-outs. That is so low level. We can do better than that. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's gossip. But when you see it done, this is why when it can matter, is when you see it used. He has weaponized words. He's not using words to get clicks or help somebody sell a YouTube video. He's weaponized these words and he's using it to win. And again, if Garbrandt's going to win, he needs to find his way through the noise, focus in on this chin, and get to that chin. Can it be done? It can be done, but it's looking less likely all the time.
Cody Garbrandt has a huge mountain to climb if he wants to become the new UFC 135-pound champion. Standing at the top of that mountain is the one and only Dominick Cruz.